Jay-Z and Damon Dash really did not take Kanye seriously. Okay, so Act 2 in Kanye's documentary, Jeen-Yuhs, was such a great episode. It gave us more insight about the making of Kanye West, the making of him becoming a superstar. You know, part 1, I broke that down and some of the elements in part 1 that were really interesting. So off the bat, the first thing that we saw, and it's a big lesson for anyone that's like an artist, a creator, or whatever the case is. The first thing that we saw is just because Kanye was signed doesn't mean the label is going to take him seriously. It didn't mean that the label was going to take him seriously. And we saw that unfold. We saw how he still had to push his way. He still had to hustle. He still had to do things to get his career going, you know. And you know, they talk about the accident that we saw in his music video, Through the Wire. You know, he had this big car crash, and Through the Wire music video, that was his first single. And I'm actually going to break that down in another video entirely, because there's so many elements in that video that really helped him in terms of marketing, really helped him and marketed him into this superstar, right? So in that video, I'm going to break down sort of from a consumer perspective how Kanye marketed himself with the video Through the Wire, and how that really won him, you know, a fan base. But before I even get into that, in this video, I'm going to talk about it from behind the scenes. Kanye, you know, having this really terrible accident that happened to him, and he turned this pain into a story. He turned this pain into purpose. So, you know, this accident happened and his whole career seemed to have halted. I mean, his jaw was wired shut. And obviously the first thing that anyone would say in the label, or anyone would have thought, is like, oh, he's going to lose his talent. He's not going to be able to rap. And that's why he rapped Through the Wire with his jaw wired shut, just to prove to them that even in this condition, in this pain that I'm in, I am still, right? I'm still going to be a rapper no matter what. I'm determined. But more to that pain, that difficulty that he faced is really what I like to call, you know, in storytelling, is really what gave him the motivation, and what gave him a compelling story to help him sell himself. But I'm really going to break that down in the next video. So wait for that. But right now, let's talk about his hustle, his drive, his buying studio time. You know, he was a producer. So luckily for him, because he was a producer in the industry, he had the benefit of knowing other artists, other musicians, you know, and that allowed him, or put him in a good position when he was networking, right, to make his rounds and buy and, you know, borrow people's studio times, go into the studio with different people, which also further helped him network. You know, it helped him take himself to the next level. You have to remember, this isn't a guy that came from nowhere. This was somebody that already produced Jay-Z's Blueprint 1 album. Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint, he produced half that album. So already, just based on that, he already has street cred. He's already respected in the industry, right? And then in addition to that, I'm sure he's producing music for other artists, other stars, you know, because they're going to be referring him. So that's how he's already, you know, socialized in the industry and knows people. But on a different level, this borrowing people's studio time also gives him another opportunity. But notice that no matter what happened, Kanye fought. Kanye like hustled. He did what he could do within the conditions, you know, that was set in that time. And what is interesting is that right now we are so lucky. We are so lucky in this day and age, because if we were in Kanye's position, what that would look like is posting on TikTok, posting on, even YouTube is hard to break on YouTube. It takes like 3 years. It's hard to break on Instagram. It's like near impossible. But right now you have the opportunity to post on TikTok, or if you're a business, to post on LinkedIn, for you to get virality and get underpriced attention. And so right now, if you're a musician, you just need to be posting on TikTok a lot. And that's what Kanye would be doing right now. But he was in that time in 2002. This is where the documentary is set, 20 years ago. And so he doesn't have the option to just post on TikTok, right? He has to, from a grassroots perspective, he has to, you know, get his name out there. So what does he do? He records his album himself, because once he had the accident, Rockefeller was like, okay, well, clearly they just shelved him, and they made him start producing for other artists, right? And they shelved him. But he was like, no. I'm going to make this happen. So he funded the music video through the wire. He continued to record music, and he created some of his best jams, like slow jams. And that really helped him, take his career to the next level. I thought Pharrell's advice to him was really powerful. It was like 35 minutes in. This advice is so rare. Like, you don't get this advice from people that have actually established themselves and they've made it. And it was such a powerful moment. And Pharrell just tells him basically, just stay hungry. Pretty much, like, just to shorten his words, he pretty much says, just stay hungry. Even when you have it, doubt that you have it, so that you keep that hunger in your music and that you can always innovate. And the irony, or the interesting element of that, is that that's exactly what Kanye did. Because every album of Kanye's, apart from Yeezus and the one that came after Yeezus, what's it, Bound or something? Apart from those two albums, every album of Kanye's, he's innovated in such a dynamic way. Like, Kanye is like literally one of the best musicians of our time. And I don't want to limit him and say, okay, he's the best rapper, because I don't necessarily look at Kanye as a rapper. I don't look at him as like a rapper. I look at him as a great musician, because a lot of his music that is powerful, these are not rap songs. These are like beautiful harmonies. These are like incredible, symphonies. That's what makes Kanye great. It's not his lyrics necessarily. I don't really feel like his lyrics move me in the way that Jay-Z's lyrics move me. They're interesting. They're funny. You can see his sense of humor in his music. You can see the little nuances that he captures about culture, especially in that first album, right? He really captures culture in an interesting way in his music, through his music. So he's a great producer, and you can see the production. He's great at documenting. He's great at telling stories. He's great at putting together interesting harmonies, right? And that's why he's a phenomenal musician. I would put him on that musician status, not a rapper, right? He's a great rapper, but he's an even better musician. I think definitely he's one of the best musicians, definitely top 5 musicians of our time, for sure. Especially the way that he breaks barriers, breaks sound, engineers new sounds, and infects culture with his innovations, right? Whatever Kanye West designs, the culture copies it for years. So he changed hip hop entirely. So anyway, Kanye is a genius. Musically, and this really was highlighted in this, and the documentary felt really familiar because Kanye has always shown us a window or a peek of his life. He's always told us about his aspirations, from when he was trying to enter the fashion industry with the whole houseway.
Or why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
Houseway.
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers.
You don't know the answers, Sway. That whole moment, right now, with like when he was trying to get in the tech industry and trying to get in touch with Jeff Bezos and all these people to invest in him. We saw those moments, and even till this day, the deal, like what he's doing with creating his own STEM player, he's always disclosed the troubles and the obstacles that he's facing in his present time.
We own labels we don't own, play for basketball teams we don't own. The time is now. I got offered $100 million by Larry Jackson to put Donda on Apple. But I ain't never got a meeting with Tim Cook.
So in a way, we already know Kanye's story. It's unfolded before our eyes. And so one thing that's so interesting to me about this documentary is that in a way, it's a continuation of that. It felt so familiar. It felt like I've seen these moments before, even though these are fresh moments that we've never seen before, because he's already told us about these moments. He's already referenced them in a song, in an interview. He's always referencing it. And so that was a little bit, it was quite magical because that's the way that he markets himself, right? And in a way, he was marketing this documentary even before it came out. So those moments, like him with Pharrell, him in the studio with Ludacris, him in the studio with Jamie Foxx, those moments were so, you know, it was so powerful to watch those moments. It was like watching history in the making, because now we're watching this and we know the story of Kanye. We know he's like one of the biggest stars of our time. We know that he's a massive star. And seeing it unfold in that moment is just so magical. Seeing the moment when Damon Dash finally decided, look, we're going to take you seriously. We're going to push you as an artist. Even after he was signed, after being shelved, them changing their mind. All of these moments were just so magical, and it was just so great to see it documented. And one thing I'd have to say to all creatives is, if you can, document your story, document your life, you know, just document, just film, just vlog, just showcase your story, so that when it's your time to shine, and this is like, okay, if you believe in yourself, if you really know that you're going to make something with your life, when it's your time to shine, well, it's just going to be a beautiful thing to watch later on. And you might not be the next Kanye West with a Netflix documentary, but it's a moment that you've captured. And when you're in your 80s and 90s, when you're dying, you know, or when you're dying, you can watch these moments and reminisce and just be happy, you know. And even beyond that, your children can watch this. Your children's children, your children's 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 children can all watch these incredible moments. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. My name is Kenim, and see you next time. Peace. Have you ever wondered why Beyonce has such a strong cult following? The Beehive go crazy over Beyonce. What about the Barbs? Nicki Minaj's fans go crazy over her. And then Justin Bieber, the Beliebers, they love him. Why do these musicians have such a strong cult following? And if you're an artist, how can you build a cult following? If you're a musician, this is for you. I have a free webinar. It's not one of those webinars that you have to sign up and you go through it. No, this is a free webinar. You click the link, you start watching it immediately. Free webinar is going to walk you, tell you exactly. I'm not one of those people that's going to waste your time. Straight to the point. It's going to tell you exactly what you need to do to build an artist persona and help you take your career to the next level. So if you're serious and you really want to get the ball rolling right now, build out an artist identity, an artist persona that is unique and that will make you stand out. And most importantly, that will help you build a cult following that is raging for you the way that these guys have a strong following. Guys, click the link down below. Limited time offer. This is probably going to be the last time you see this video, to be honest. This is not going to be available for too long. There's a limited space. So click the link down below so you can join this free webinar and start putting things into motion to build out a strong career. Let's get to it.